Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mind the Waves, a series of fun get togethers where myself, Steph, and Jamie chat about mental well being and how to look after yourself better. Along the way, we'll be meeting and talking to people we know who have experiences to share and can help us manage our lives more easily. Unfortunately, today we do not have Jamie. She is feeling unwell, but we have a very, very special guest today. As professional athletes, we realized a long time ago that taking care of our hearts and our minds are just as important as our bodies and our muscles. And today we have the perfect person to help us talk about this is our friend Karen Lowe. Hi, Karen.
Hi,
Hi,
Karen.
hi
Welcome.
everyone.
like like us, she swam for Hong Kong, but these days she's busy as a sports and performance psychologist, a coach for the mind. So today we're going to find out what that means, what it involves, and we're going to ask Karen some tips on how to manage stress and pressure better. So Karen, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, okay. So for the audience, since Karen is Hong Konger, so she can speak Cantonese, would
Yes.
you please mind to just like share? We had your introduction in English. Maybe share a little bit on.喂，我應該係講廣東話，可唔可以？
係可以用廣
係啊，可唔可以？
東話解介
係啊，可
紹先。
唔可以簡
係，
介一下其實你嘅工作係乜嘢啦？因為我諗對於
嗯
香港好多人嚟講，你嘅工作都幾特別嘅。咁所以咧，
嗯
亦都好少人做你呢份工啦，所以好想你用廣東話可唔可以簡單咁樣介紹下自己咧？
嗯，好。咁大家可能聽到即係運動心理學，即係加啦，可能嗰個就係個 title 啦。咁但係運動心理學咧，最主要其實就係兩嚿嘢咯，運動同埋心理。咁佢哋有佢哋嘅互惠嘅關係喺度啦。咁主要其實我嘅工作就係透過心理學嘅訓練去提升運動表現，係啦。咁所以咧，如果我哋話啊，咁有啲譬如我哋比賽嘅時候，即係我以前比賽又好，或者 Camille 同你而家都仲比緊賽啦，究竟喺比賽裏邊會遇到啲乜嘢嘅挑戰咧？譬如可能係啊，我冇乜信心喎，或者係咦，我覺得我好似冇乜火喎今日，或者好似唔係好專心喎咁。其實呢啲全部都係同心理有關嘅 technique，即係一啲嘅技巧。咁如果我哋學識點樣去運用呢一啲嘅技巧去提升我哋嘅運動表現呢，咁我哋 suppose 個比賽個表現就會好啲啦，係啦。咁所以最主要我諗我嘅工作嘅範圍，無論係對一啲個別嘅運動員啦，或者係對住一個譬如籃球隊或者足球隊嘅工作啦，最主要其實都係點樣透過呢一啲嘅技巧咁樣去幫佢哋。
Okay, so basically it is about tips like techniques that you're going to teach more of the sporting performance side to help all the athletes to get better. So it's really interesting because it's exactly what we're actually trying to do here on Mind the Waves too, trying to give like people just like tips and techniques, but we're not really just like focusing on the performance like a sports side, but also like in general for everyone. 但係今日其實我真係自己好期待呢一個 session 嘅，因為其實我第一次見 Karen 嘅時候咧，係喺另一個心理學嘅一個座談會上面啦。咁我好彩佢哋安排咗我同你咁樣上台兩個 chat chat，其實完全冇稿，冇諗過點樣講，但係 somehow 就好似係一個我自己嘅一個session 咁樣啦。跟住我係咁問 Karen 究竟有啲乜嘢？喂，我其實咧由之前咧，其實我會咁樣嘅，即係我成日都覺得呢啲唔中意又唔開心啊，做唔到呢啲嘢啊，跟住佢就喺台上面一幫我揀，即係幫我梳理咗咁樣啦。Camille, did you get that? I was saying I was with
That you were asking her.
Yeah, I was like basically
for
having a
tips for
session.
yourself.
In a certain event, yeah.
That was like really good. I was really looking forward to this. And so, Camille, have you ever worked with a sports performance psychologist before?
Yes, I have. Well, it's funny because, my background has always been in psychology, and I think it's very much like initially, like there's this joke of like, oh, people that study psychology mainly they want to figure themselves out, right? So, definitely like when we were in university, a little bit like periodically, never consistently, and then I think after Rio, I worked with one consistently. And then, during COVID, I actually did my own, like a sports and performance psychology course, and really trying to like learn the tips, apply them to myself. I've connected with Karen before. Um, so I think it's just, it's honestly, it's it's like, why wouldn't you use it? It's like, you have a gym coach, you have a swim coach, you have, sometimes nutritionists, the physio. Like, I think this is just, it's just part of, at least for an athlete, what you should have. And there's so many tips and things that you can learn that are applicable not just to sport and performance, but just like daily life. And I think that's really important to, especially in this episode, that it's not just, we're athletes and obviously this is very important to us, but it's beyond sport as well. Yeah. How about you, Steph?
I don't think I really worked with a specific psychologist. Like, yeah, after all this episode, people already realize like how lazy I am on things too. So it's just like I've been to Australia and like they talk about it. Like it's really interesting that they like, yeah, today I went to the physio and I saw my psychologist. And it's just like such a normal thing for them to say that and like they share what they do with me too. So I found that like really it's like such a different culture. So that leads me to the next question. I'm gonna ask Karen like 其實喺香港係咪真係好少運動？其實有幾多運動員係會嚟見你啦，或者佢哋會唔會係真係好似因為之前其實上一集我哋都有同 Aaron 又有講過，即係會唔會係有一種因為佢哋已經去到一個頂唔順嘅狀態啦，已經係即係 tip over 唔得啦嘅時候先至嚟揾你咧？即係會唔會真係有過一種 stigma 喺入邊？或者你見過嘅 case 咁多運動員嘅 case，或者會唔會一啲唔係運動員嘅人都其實會 approach 你咧？咁佢哋會唔會有啲咩困難？其實係 repetitive 嘅，你又見到有啲咩 pattern 咁樣咧？Sorry， 好多問題。
係，等我睇下記唔記得先。係啦，唔係我諗最即係第一條問題我答咗先啦。咁其實你話會唔會仲有個 stigma 喺度？會嘅。即係真係譬如頭先你講話澳洲嘅完全 culture 上面唔同，咁當然包括歐美啦，其實都係今日見完晒 call 啦，我哋去食飯啦，點啊咁樣，即係完全係一個 chit chat 嘅 conversation 裏邊一定會出現嘅一個 topic 之一。即係以前甚至乎我因為我嗰陣時 undergrad 我就喺香港讀啦，咁然之後我就去咗美國讀 sports psychology 啦，咁。我嗰陣時，我好記得我第一堂即係上堂啊，第一年嘅時候，跟住我其他同學係講自己同 sports psychology 嘅經驗，令到佢想去繼續讀咯。跟住我就覺得好似哇，我好落後啊！即係點解我連呢一種嘅人我都唔認識？我而家純粹就係我當我好似開荒牛咁，你係開荒牛，即係成日去闖下咁樣，即係我係完全係冇呢一方面嘅經驗可以分享咯。咁我就知道哇，原來係咁大嘅落差咁樣。咁當然由我最開頭起步，即係大概13、14年，跟住去到而家啦，係有一個好大嘅改變嘅。即係我覺得我睇到香港。以前係就算真係去到一個臨界點，或者真係哇頂唔順啊，即係個運動員啊，可能其實佢都唔會揾。但係而家咧都已經會啦，去到一個地步，或者甚至乎開始覺得自己有少少，即係可能有時有啲家長會話我自己個仔唔係好妥喎，即係佢自己都講話我比賽嘅時候我真係好緊張，同埋我對住一啲我唔應該輸嘅人，我就真係會手騰腳震喎咁樣。我就覺得佢應該要嚟揾下你啦，咁樣咯。咁我覺得當然呢個係一個好 positive 嘅一個改變咯，係啦。唔緊要，我已經唔記得咗條問題啦。
因為你啱啱講咗個好就係我哋今日想講嘅其中一個 topic， 就係我哋會講其實香港有一個比較common 嘅問題咧，就係其實個壓力啦，其實好多時係嚟自於家長。頭先你就講咗一個好好嘅例子，就係。係真係因為我個仔唔掂啦，我個仔覺得點？我個仔佢而家感覺好似唔係好得咯，所以然後媽咪覺得應該要帶佢嚟睇你咯，即係所以好似係其實家長嘅嗰個參與度係極高㗎喺香港，咁所以Camille, you get that? I was saying like, because Karen was saying how parental involvement is huge. Like Karen was just giving this example of how athletes here in Hong Kong are they won't go to Karen by themselves. Like their parents would urge them to come and see Karen instead of them taking the initiatives. So I was like, that leads us to the parental topic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so we asked like the audience, because at the end of the day, this is really like what people want to hear. And one of like the big questions was about like either actually from parents themselves, being curious, is like asking us what was our parent, like how were our parents involved in our career? Was it helpful? Was it pressure? And then also from, the athlete's perspective of, oh, like I have so much pressure from my parents. So I feel like this topic is like a really important one to discuss. And for me, I mean, I'd love to hear in both of your, careers, how your parents played a role. Was it more supportive, pressure, helpful? Because I feel I have a perspective, but I want to hear your
Yeah,
guys'
yours is a very
first.
special one indeed. But I feel like me and Karen are kind of like the more typical Hong Kong. But Karen, what's your story? Like 你媽咪爹哋咧，其實會點㗎？以前
我唔係出自啲咩運動世家嘅，咁所以爹哋媽咪係即係都會喐下，即係可能自己同啲朋友打下波啊咁樣樣，即係都會有，同埋對運動有基本認識。咁但係游水對我嚟講，其實係好易學嘅一種運動，或者好易學識點樣去睇、去欣賞嘅一個運動，因為其實係睇時間嘅啫嘛。咁所以咧，即係佢哋嘅 involvement 就係車出車入咯，即係頂多就係咁唔算對我嚟講唔算係一種好大嘅壓力。佢哋會譬如有比賽有啲大賽，咁佢哋當然會留低會睇，但係你話佢哋其實係咪淨係識得去睇個時間就係、咦你個 PB 係咁多喎，咦點解慢咗幾秒喎？咁佢會咁樣識得 comment 咯。但係 other than that 咧，咁佢可能就會聽可能教練嘅 comment 啦，即係佢又冇信心啦，所以又緊張啦，點啊，咁佢可能就會 echo 翻，因為佢自己就唔係好了解，係啦，咁所以教練講咗啲乜嘢，咁佢可能消化咗啦，咁佢會同我講，教練話你
全聲痛
麻麻地喎，咁樣係啦，咁即係佢就 exactly 係啦，咁所以就對我嚟講，純粹係可能多一把聲音去，即係甚至乎係其實佢 sort of 即係好似演繹翻教練嘅心底説話咁樣樣俾我聽翻啦。咁我自己就覺得個 pressure 反而對我嚟講，我嗰陣時游緊就唔係喺屋企人度，係教練居多，係啦咁樣樣。教練嘅 expectation 對我嚟講係辛苦啲嘅，係啦。但係可能你哋就唔同。
You're saying that her parents are really not like they're involved, but they're basically kind of repeating what the coaches were saying only. So her main stress was from the coach instead. Well, from
the coach.
My parents are more like, oh, the coach said this, the coach said that. Like, what's your comment? So I feel like the pressure doesn't come from my family. It comes more from my own coach.
Yeah.
I feel like my parents are, because when I was hearing what Karen was saying, I realized that I thought I overthink a lot. Like if my parents say something like how they say to you, like I would just overthink it, like, and then it creates an unnecessary stress for myself. And that, like, even if they're saying the same thing as what my coaches are saying, I put like extra pressure on myself when they say things like this. So I guess like it's. Yeah, I interpret it in a different way. And my parents are quite dominating, quite pushy, very typical. Like, I would say I always tease my mom saying they're like the tiger mom, like the first ever tiger mom, like before even tiger mom like this term was invented. So, yeah, so basically that's how she is. And, but I kind of just 我諗我都真係只不過係諗我唔識得處理嘅，其實就係繼續咁樣頂硬上咯，因為亦都冇乜咩方法其實可以去解決佢哋嘅，多時候亦都我唔會同唔係一啲咩好實質，我咪去問我啲朋友究竟 好唔開心啊，媽咪同我講呢句説話啊，然後過咗陣瞓咗覺，然後起身就冇事啦，即係唔會有啲乜嘢好 constructive。有人會講俾我聽嗱，你咧而家就應該同媽咪去講，坐低兩個人舒舒服服咁樣同佢講，其實咧你覺得點樣樣，然後媽咪又同你講點樣，冇可能係會做到，冇一個咁樣嘅成熟嘅程度啦。咁所以I was saying it's impossible for me to like communicate well with my parents at that point of a time because I weren't mature enough and I didn't have the tools to do what I'm supposed to and I just sleep through it and ignore it and go through it and swim it out, I guess. So but Camille has a very interesting perspective because like you come from a diverse family background.
Yeah, I guess it's like one of those places where like you can see a bit also the cultural differences because, you know, my dad being Chinese and my mom being French, I feel like when it came to swimming and their involvement, it was very different. And I think it's like, because I've been swimming for so long, it's interesting to see like when I was younger, you know, like 12, 15, and then in university, and then even to today, how they react. And when I was younger, I often like to share kind of how the difference is like I'd finish a race and if I was ready for like some tough love or some like technical feedback or like, you know, then I'd be like, okay, I could go see my dad because he's very, you know, like your time was this and you needed to do this turn, you know. And if I was just like, I just want like unconditional love, I would go find my mom who's like very much like, oh, amazing, you know, like not really aware of like the times. But I think like in a way I'm like grateful to have that balance, like because, you know, one of either way it would like I needed a bit of like the challenge and the pushing sometimes and then obviously wanted a little of like the it's okay, you know, it's fine. So but I will say that there were some times that were really, really tough, especially when it like feeling a lot of like pressure and expectation from my dad. There was like one specific year where you know, there was a bit of drama and I ended up quitting like the school team. And so I was training a lot by myself, like either with my like private coach and our team. And sometimes my dad would coach
Oh
me.
my goodness.
And I was doing this for like a year. And honestly, it was like the most miserable year ever because like my dad was like also my coach. And then like he would come to the pool and like as I'm swimming in this lane, he would be swimming like his
he gets in the
own
pool as
set
well?
right next to me.
Oh
and
my
just,
god, I thought he
yes.
was like just like yelling from
Oh no!
the
And
pool
he
deck.
would
No,
would
he's
get
like he's
in
swimming
and
next to
and
you.
like he's doing his own workout, but it's just like he's like always there.
And he wouldn't stop
and
talking
like
about
you
it.
know like also when you're young, yeah, well, and also when you're young, you like want to hang out with your friends, and then it's like always like, oh, my dad's there doing his like morning exercises, you know, just like I need my space. And I think in that year, it was probably like I just was like, I want to quit swimming, but I think what I learned was like if I'm going to keep swimming, it has to be for myself and it couldn't be for, you know, my dad or even like my coaches. But honestly, during that time, like I didn't have the tools either. It was exactly like Steph, like I was literally like croggling, you know, crying in your goggles and just like through practice and like you go to sleep and you just wake up and you're like, I don't even know, like, you know, just swim it out.
Miserable every day, basically.
But yeah, and now it's funny because like swimming and they're like, so when are you gonna stop swimming? Now it's like the opposite. But yeah, so it's definitely like a super, I think everyone has their stories when it comes to parents. And I think, you know, looking back for me, I wouldn't change it because I think it still helped, you know, get me to where I am today. But and it's easy to like criticize them for putting pressure on us to perform. But I think that, and I know that my parents, it was just out of their best interest. Like they were doing the best that they could. You know, they're also probably learning what it means to be, you know, a swim parent. And I guess it would be great, you know, especially because this is, you know, what you do now is with the kids that you work with these days, how could parents better support their kids in a way? I guess we'll start with that question, and then we'll ask what we could have done, the athlete. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess English is
Yeah.
good. English is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
English is fine? Okay. Yeah, no, I feel like, where should I start? I feel like parents, like, in hindsight, like, parents always mean well, right? Of course they want us to do well. Of course they want us to enjoy the sport. Of course they want us to have good results. Sometimes, though, I feel like unintentionally, they only put the focus on results. And I feel like most of the time it's unintentional. So let me just give you an example. So it's like, oh, you know what? Like, just try your best, like right before meet, right? And then after meet, they look completely different when the results are not good, right? Like, you can see it on their face. And so that's not like, you're contradicting, obviously. And the athlete would know. 即係永遠就係之前咧，佢哋就會講某一堆嘅嘢，跟住就冇嘢嘅，其實都係一項比賽啫，或者點樣樣啦，你做好自己就得㗎啦。跟住完咗就黑面咯。係啦，咁但係其實我係有努力嘅，係啦，但係當個成績唔好嘅時候咧，咁佢個反應就會同佢之前唔同啦。咁呢個都係要家長注意嘅一個位啦，就係其實你有冇留意到原來你係有一個反差喺度咧咁樣樣。咁另外咧有一啲就係可能有一個比較 positive 少少嘅 example 就係，喂，你比賽比得好啊 ，like you did a great job, like you got a gold medal. Let's go to a hotel and get buffet, right? But let's say if you didn't get a gold medal, then I'm not rewarding that. And then we're just going to go home, right? So that is also unintentionally rewarding or reinforcing a good result. So I feel like sometimes what parents need to understand is no matter what the result is, you should still get buffet, right? Or you should still go and get something nice. It's not like, oh, I'll buy you a new racket if you get first, right? Otherwise, the athlete is going to learn over time that you're associating like good things or good stuff.
死啦！我係咁嘅喎，我媽咪爹哋都係咁嘅喎。My mom is exactly like that。唔緊要，其實好多爹哋媽咪都係咁，真係好多爹哋媽咪。Even 我哋自己啦。Those like miniature sets, I'm like, oh, I got this like not just from swimming, like in the result, like academic wise too. Like I'm gonna get an A, so I get this set, and I can go to Ruby Tuesday and like have this buffet lunch, like all this stuff. Like honestly, it's still like such a hard, the core memory of myself, really. But yeah. So
I feel like even with academic results or whatever performance, like music, sport, we kind of do that unintentionally, but like even as whether it's a parent or a coach, like coaches sometimes say, oh, I'm going to, when they work with little kids, oh, I'm going to give you a sticker or I'm going to give you candy. Like if you get first, right? That's unintentionally focusing on the result as well. So I feel like everybody should get candy at some point, but it's more about like verbal, like reinforcement, like feedback, like you did well. I saw the effort. And I noticed, and then you say something specific about the effort. So, and I think that would be good enough.
所以媽咪爹哋其實
It's so funny.
Sorry,
sorry.
You go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's funny to hear your stories because my dad would give me like $1 per millisecond that I improved, and I had like this Excel sheet where I would just put like my time, and I'm like, oh, I get like $5 or whatever.
$2.
Yeah, Camille and her father and the Excel sheets and the finance situation. We're gonna talk about that sometime. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so Camille gets money, like monetary reward.
Yeah, exactly.
For doing
but I mean,
well.
like, you can only improve so much. Like, yeah, it was great for when I was like, I don't know, like 12 to like 16 or whatever. And then like, I haven't gone to best time in like years. I mean, obviously we stopped that a long time ago, but it was, maybe he was testing out different, like, what motivates Camille. Is it money? Is it, is it the buffet?
Is it money? It must be money. Right.
所以其實真係攞壓力，真係唔係嚟自於淨係 運動啦，亦或者唔係嚟自於媽咪爹哋啦。咁其實我諗作為即係廣泛啲咁樣講啦，其實香港人都真係每日都好大力啦，喺呢個地方啦，大家見到嘅人啦，因為大家對大家講嘅嘢啦，或者好多唔同嘅期望啦，其實都會令到我哋好緊張，每日都帶住好大嘅壓力去做人啦，真係叫做。其實會唔會你作為頭先係咯，我都問咗另外一個問題，我而家記得翻啦，即係係咪除咗運動員以外，其實都仲有其他唔同嘅，你有唔同嘅 client，其實佢哋都會嚟，然後其實佢哋嘅問題又會係啲咩咧？會唔會係頭先有啲就係我哋講嘅，即係佢哋嘅壓力啊，都希望透過你可能可以俾到一啲 tips 佢哋咁樣咧？
係我而家記得翻嗰條問題，我都唔好意思。係啊，但係唔係我諗頭先，因為當我俾個 example，即係話啊，我仔有啲唔妥喎，媽咪叫佢嚟喎，咁我其實我覺得都可以理解，因為當一個小朋友細嘅時候，佢真係未必可以 voice out 到出嚟話，我想見一個運動心理學家，即係我覺得真係比較 uncommon 嘅。咁但係媽咪可能會留意多少少即係究竟出面有啲乜嘢人可以幫到手咧咁樣，咁所以媽咪喺呢一個位做主導咧，我覺得係絕對可以即係理解嘅。咁翻但係如果譬如你話有一啲18歲以上嘅運動員咧，咁佢真係自己其實都 sort of take control over 佢自己嘅生活啊，究竟去揾啲咩人幫到佢啊，佢自己都有一個主導權喺度嘅時候咧，咁自己揾嘅機會就一定係更多啦。咁翻返去頭先你問，即係話啊，其實有冇其他嘅client 會揾我咧？咁其實會嘅，因為咧我自己可能因為係純粹係一個運動員嘅背景，咁所以比較多就係大家 focus 咗就係 sport psychology 啦。咁同埋就聽個 title 可能就會明白多少少我嘅工作啦。咁但係咧其實大家都唔好唔記得嗰個 performance 嗰個位啦。咁其實 performance 個位咧就係咩咧？就係譬如可能真係有一個係一個 corporate 嘅 professional，即係真係喺大公司做嘢，好大壓力。一啲 portfolio manager， 一啲 trader， 佢真係喺高壓環境底下，佢好需要 perform 嘅。我又會有一班呢啲咁樣嘅 client。另一邊上亦都會有好多 performing arts 嘅，即係我諗我大概有2至3成度啦。譬如可能係跳芭蕾舞嘅，可能係opera， 即係唱 opera 女高音咁樣。咁亦都會有可能以前有一個拉大提琴嘅，咁即係一上到台就 freeze 啦咁樣。咁其實嗰個舞台唔同。但係其實同運動員都大同小異。咁你話究竟點樣幫佢哋咧？其實好多時都係即係一個比較 holistic 少少嘅 approach。即係我都唔能夠話你好緊張，咁我就幫你點樣唔好咁緊張啦。咁就係即係就你就走得啦咁。即係如果係咁嘅話，其實就真係唔需要揾一個 professional。即係即係其實你依書直説，你就咁話，喂，你冇信心，我幫你，我教你一啲信心嘅 tips 啦。咁就冇簡單嘅，係啦。咁當然你話有冇啲快捷嘅方法，睇下會唔會暫時止住血先咁樣咧？咁得嘅。咁所以頭先譬如你話有冇啲譬如 let's say confidence 嘅 tips 或者有冇啲 motivation 嘅 tips 咧？咁實會有嘅。咁但係我自己比較中意就係揾一揾究竟可唔可以揾到個 underlying issue 係乜嘢嘢？譬如咧，我有一個網球員啦，最近都係10幾歲嘅啫。咁佢最近就媽咪帶佢嚟。咁咧呢個故仔可以講到好長啊，不過我盡量縮短啦。即係但係咁佢主要其實就係話佢媽咪都係話佢冇乜信心，咁睇下會唔會可以幫到佢咁樣。咁當佢坐低嘅時候，咁其實我唔會即刻相信呢一個運動員係因為個信心嘅問題，即係我都要自己用我耳仔去聽下，睇下究竟個 story 係點樣樣。咁原來後尾慢慢發現，譬如可能我問一啲問題，關於究竟你幾時開始冇信心啦？嗰段時間發生咩事咧？咁樣咁跟住就原來發現咧原來佢有一次某一場嘅比賽，有另外一個可能好 random 嘅家長走咗埋嚟就話原來你係呢個某某好出名嘅運動員嘅仔，你一定贏咁樣，即係會有一啲咁樣嘅故仔就聽到啦。咁後尾發現原來自此之後咧，佢就因為佢爹哋原來以前都係一個好出色嘅網球員。變咗咧，佢就開始有一啲嘅焦慮出咗嚟咧，就係我好擔心人哋將我同我爹哋比較，咁個 confidence 就冇啦。咁變相其實我哋就係要慢慢去處理，同埋抽絲剝繭，睇下究竟呢一個焦慮點樣處理，即係究竟被比較嘅感覺係點咧？咁希望就係個 confidence 就 as 一個 byproduct 咁樣出翻嚟就你處理咗呢樣嘢啦， 其實希望個 confidence 就會翻嚟。咁所以喺我嘅工作裏邊，其實好多時我要即係好仔細，即係我諗呢個都係我即係可能喺我嘅 training 之一咧，就係我會需要聽得好仔細，究竟邊一度對我嚟講係 useful information， 跟住我就喺我個腦海裏邊我就 map out， 即係究竟呢一個運動員喺佢個 life 裏邊發生咩事咧咁樣樣。
一個唔，都唔係，
好難翻譯。
I guess Camille gets it. Yeah.
Did you get it?
Kind of.
It was about a tennis player that I worked with.
The different people you work with, I got that. And then at some point you were talking about like giving tips, but you want to get to the underlying issue otherwise. But then, and then you were telling a story, but then I kind of got lost in the story.
No, that's okay. I feel like, Camille, you can start speaking in Cantonese now. You know like half of what we're saying.
Writing on what Karen just said, I feel like it's a... I know like Mind the Waves are not gonna go like in depth like what Karen is doing as a job, but like we are still definitely trying to like give out like tips. I mean, it is in a way from your professional perspective, how much do you think? Because it's a 香港有一種其實都係繼續依然都係速食啦，咁其實唔係香港啦，成個世界都係咁樣啦。咁所以好容易嘅，真係會做到一個即係大家都好想即刻。而家好似你頭先咁講啦，即係壓力，我就要攞點樣去舒緩壓力嘅 tips。其實嗰個比例係咪真係可以禁止咗血？其實真係唔即係治標唔治本嘅喎。咁但係其實我哋自己係我呢3個女仔，我諗我哋相信至少我哋可以出嚟講俾大家聽，俾啲 tips 俾大家，用我哋把口，用我哋嘅身份去講呢一件事，都希望至少可以帶動到一個awareness 啊。咁我想問嘅問題咧，即係嚟自我自己，我都覺得其實我自己都好 lean on 呢啲咁樣嘅 tips 嘅。咁定係其實真係要自己定時，或者可以點樣去幾時可能我知道嘅時候先至去 approach 去揾你咧？點樣？其實定係一個真係一個習慣嚟嘅。其實我係需要，定係有啲嘢其實我自己心入邊自己都可以做，幫到自己嘅咧。咁即係呢啲。即係我哋聽得出我係一個幾咁 scattered 嘅問題啦，因為我自己都唔知其實應該係點樣問咯。咁所以喺作為你嘅 profession，你覺得咧？
唔緊要，唔緊要。係唔係？其實我覺得咧，當然啦，我絕對唔係話即係 self-help books 或者一啲 tools 就只能夠淨係表面嗰陣。即係我希望其實當然即係好似。雖然我自己唔係一個醫生啊，因為我唔開藥嘅，咁但係即係我哋醫生其實都唔希望太多病人啦，即係咁樣代表嗰個社會好唔健康啦，係咪？咁其實我諗個心態上面我自己都係一樣，即係如果 self-help books 係幫到你嘅，即管去睇多啲，即係或者某一啲嘅 tools 你覺得係自己幫到自己嘅，咁你就即管 keep 住去用，係啦。即係我覺得其實雖然我好似用翻 buffet 呢個字咁，但係其實我諗譬如可能 sports psychology 裏邊咧 say 有10個 tools。有10，即係buffet有10樣嘢食，你就揀你自己中意，你覺得啱使嘅，跟住就去食，係啦，咁就去運用。咁譬如可能有啲人話我覺得譬如當我一個人緊張嘅時候，我譬如我想學識點樣去深呼吸，我覺得呢樣嘢確實係即刻係一個快捷嘅方法去幫到我自己嘅咁樣，咁咪即管用咯。但係你就唔好臨比賽前你先第一次喺度試深呼吸咯。係啦，即係呢個係要平時你 regularly 學識，當喺高壓嘅情況底下，你識得用深呼吸去幫自己，而有 work 啦，咁樣你先至可以大機會啲喺比賽度 work 咯。係啦，咁所以有啲人就話得啦，我記得㗎啦 ，self talk 啊嘛，或者我記得啦，即係我識得點樣增強自信心啊，或者我識得點樣去令到自己refocus 咁樣，咁但係如果佢哋平時都唔練開呢樣嘢嘅話咧，都幾難喺比賽突然之間你可以 switch on 到呢一個 mode 咯，係啦，咁所以呢個都係一個少少嘅 tips， 就係唔好以為深呼吸好簡單，其實深呼吸都需要練嘅，係啦，咁樣。
Exercising? Are we?
If you want, but I was actually thinking of another exercise because, you know, breathing exercises. I feel like I'm hoping that people would just go online and check like what sort of breathing exercises there are. But I was thinking of just trying to
Of
utilize
course,
the
yeah,
brain
yeah,
a bit
yeah,
more
yeah.
and use visualization, if that's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
可
So
以
Yes.
啊。
咁我用廣東話講啦呢個。其實我自己咧就即係我都有好幾個咧點講咧，我覺得係比較 creative 少少嘅運動員嘅，即係中意去唔完全我對於我嚟講唔係胡思亂想啦，即係佢話啊我好 creative 嘅，我中意諗好多唔同嘅畫面出嚟幫我手嘅咁。咁譬如如果淨係講游水為例啦，我哋話我哋 visualize 一個 race，咁我哋就會由開始去到完結，即係由跳水去到掂場，或者甚至乎召集嘅時候就已經諗定緊個過程係點。呢個係一種 visualization。但係譬如如果你話我好緊張喎，究竟我可唔可以 visualize 某一啲嘅嘢去幫我手咧？咁呢樣嘢其實都得嘅喎，即係 visualization 唔係淨係一定好 technical，就係我游個50米或者我游個100米或者我跑個100米咁樣樣。咁咧其實咧我有試過咧有個運動員咧就係佢好 stress 比賽之前，咁咧然之後咧曾幾何時咧我就話好啊，咁我哋講下究竟你 stress 啲乜嘢。咁佢就專登去真係揾張紙，即係喺我個 office 度，佢就揾張紙去寫，但係佢可能列晒成個 list 出嚟就係我 stress， 因為我驚，譬如屋企人對我嘅期望我 fulfill 唔到，跟住或者可能我 stress 就係教練對我嘅期望我 fulfill 唔到，或者我驚我游得唔好或者跑得唔好嘅時候，我啲同學其實會笑我，即係佢或者佢會不停喺度追問我嘅成績咁樣樣，咁呢一堆嘢其實都會令到我好 anxious 嘅咁樣。咁跟住之後咧，我就話好啦，嗱，我哋寫低晒。咁其實寫低呢一個過程已經係 feel better 啦，即係對於佢嚟講，因為真係列出，即係佢又睇翻，同埋甚至乎聽翻佢自己腦海裏邊 play 緊嘅嘢出嚟。咁然之後咧，佢就話好啦，我諗完一陣，我唔諗啦。咁跟住我就話好啦，咁你鋸埋一嚿，跟住抌落垃圾桶啦，咁樣係啦。咁即係呢一個動作又會幫到佢就知道我要抌埋一邊啦，跟住我就專心比賽啦咁。咁嗱，其實呢一個過程咧係好 tangible， 因為佢真係實質喺個 office 做緊呢一個動作。但係如果佢唔係成日都有張紙喺手嘅時候咧，佢就可以幻想咯呢個動作，即係用 visualization 去諗呢一個動作。咁佢就變咗每次一召集一比賽之前咧，佢就嘗試下去眯埋眼，用5分鐘嘅時間，想像自己真係寫出嚟，究竟今次嘅 stress 係乜嘢嘢。跟住之後咧，嗰張紙係咩嘅咧？係咪黃色嘅咧？係咪有冇橫線喺度嘅咧？就真係去諗，我用咩筆去寫咧？係咪用我最中意嗰隻 marker 咧？咁樣樣。咁你哋其實都可以試下，就係如果我真係攞張紙出嚟，跟住我攞支筆出嚟，我用我個 handwriting 係點樣樣嘅？究竟我點樣寫法咧？究竟我係1至10咁樣列晒出嚟？跟住如果我鋸埋一嚿，跟住抌落垃圾桶，我究竟要幾大力咧？咁樣鋸埋張紙咧，究竟佢變到幾細嚿咧？究竟個垃圾桶喺邊度咧？個垃圾桶咩色嘅咧？跟住我喺邊一個位去做呢一個動作，跟住我先至即係去跑步咧咁樣樣。咁我覺得呢個對於不如想試下啲新嘢嘅運動員嚟講，可能都可以有用有幫助。如果你覺得 visualization 係一個即係都可以試下嘅一個技巧喎，咁樣樣。
係咯，你咁樣講完，即係其實 visualization 真係 sky's the limit 嘅喎，即係有乜嘢呢啲都可以咁樣去咁 vividly 去想像嘅。因為我都以為其實 visualization 就係真係好 technical 咯，即係好多人都以前會問我哋究竟你比賽之前緊張或者點樣可以面對個緊張，我就成日話咁你可能真係 visualize 一下，即係比賽之前你諗定其實點解你咁緊張，你其實要做啲乜嘢，即係好 routine 性咁樣去完成呢件事，咁不停咁樣 replay 喺個腦裏邊，replay 到你都悶啦，其實你就唔會緊張。我成日都咁樣講嘅。咁但係我 didn't know that you can like visualize actually writing all your like things
stressful events, stressors,
and then like throw that into your imaginary trash bin. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to try that. I have a competition next weekend. I'm going to do that. I usually do it as I like list it, and then before I dive in for warm up, I like pretend that instead of like the bin, but I like the bin. I think it's more powerful. Like really I'm throwing it away. If I understood the exercise correctly.
You did. 係啊，咪即係譬如可能咁，當然唔係個個人都游水㗎啦。咁譬如我當可能足球場或者籃球場，你知道其實可能籃球場出面係有個垃圾桶嘅，咁你咪可能可以用嗰個嚟想像咯，跟住就抌完就行入去啦。 咁我就專心答課啦，咁樣。咁其實呢樣嘢都幫到我個 present moment focus，因為我哋成日都會講話being in the present 係最好嘅，即係我哋唔好諗究竟將來個後果係點，或者之前我哋可能有啲咩失誤啊咁樣。咁其實某程度上嗰個 reminder 或者嗰個 cue 就係我抌完個垃圾桶，我一踩入籃球場或者踩入嗰條線嗰刻，就會係我係一個籃球員啦，嗰個位咯，咁樣。咁其實即係可能個 visualization 就會係 pre-competition 做咗嘅一個畫面咯，咁然之後你先至去比賽咁樣咯。
Karen, she has really good like visualizing, like imagination. It's really about imagination, and it takes a lot. Like for people that are, I guess, less creative, it's hard to try. The first try would be really hard. It's like when Karen was asking all these questions, like, so how strong are you gonna throw the paper into the bin? Like how far are you from the bin? And like what color is the trash can? Like all these questions, I think it's better to have someone that actually knows how to visualize to at least try it out first and then go from there. But I guess that's part of the self-help. I can like Google search it a little bit and then like have a list and maybe write it out before doing the visualization. And pretty sure Camille and I are gonna try that. And it takes practice, right? So it's better for us to maybe practice do that before our practice too, and then try to do that. It's like so 真係好似我哋而家講緊嘅係同游水一樣，同運動一樣，唔係真係你跳落去比賽你就會快，你真係要每日去練習嘅時候你先至可以做到。咁所以其實呢一啲咁樣嘅 tools 都需要我哋每一日去練習，然後可以令到我哋比賽嘅時候做得到出嚟啦。咁所以so today really thank you Karen for the tips and all the like sharing that you gave us. It's really impactful, and stories. And it's just always good to share this kind of topics, especially you were a swimmer and then going into such a interesting and very helpful and very meaningful job that you're doing really. Because 我頭先你講開荒牛咧，我係真係好記得13、14年嘅時候，我係聽到Karen Lo 佢而家做咗運動心理學家喎，真係哇！好犀利，真係從來冇聽過有人做呢一行，跟住仲要知道你係唯一一個咯，當時候。So I'm pretty, you did a lot of contribution to this area. So thank you. I just want to really say that to you.
No problem. I'm sure we can ramble for hours about this topic, but maybe some other time when we get to meet again.
Yeah. So we're here also sending love to Jamie. Get well soon.
Yeah,
Jamie.
Yeah, get well soon.
Yeah, really. Yes. So thank you for watching this episode, everyone. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.
See you next
Thanks
time.
again.
Bye.
Bye.